Hello, my friends! Welcome to one more episode of SilvaCast. I'm Fred Silva, and today I will talk with Katya. She's from Russia, and she has a beautiful story about English. I think you will love it because she started to study English because her profession, so wants to get more money. But after a while, she fell in love with English, and now she's encouraging other people to speak English better. So she has a podcast, and she speaks a very, very beautiful English. So I hope you can stay with me until the end, and let's get started. Well, but before, let me tell you some good news. I'm preparing an English speaking club. It's going to be released in the next few weeks, and I want to have you there with me. The purpose of this English speaking club is just practicing. I know that you have a lot of English in your mind. I know you know a lot about English, but I also know that you are not able to practice English on a daily basis. So the idea is to have a safe place for you, have practice every single day, participate in challenges, participating in meetings that can give you the chance to talk with me, with another English student. And there is a good place for you because nobody will judge you, nobody will laugh at you. We will be there just to help you to improve your English speaking skills, okay? So if you are interested, just click the link below, the first link below, and join us. If you click and is not available yet, you can join us in the waiting list. And then when I release the English speaking club, I will tell you, and then you can enroll and be part of this amazing community, okay? So I'll see you there, and let's get started. Hello, Katya. How are you?
Hi, Fred. I'm good. I'm happy to be here with you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. Welcome to SilvaCast. It's an honor for me to receive you here. And I know you have a lot of things to share. So first of all, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from, where you live, and everything.
Yes, of course. So my name is Katya, and I live in Russia. And I've been living in Russia my whole life. And honestly speaking, I've never been abroad. So I've never had a chance to try out my English speaking skills in real life because my only interaction in English that I have is like this on the screen on Zoom with other English speakers who are mainly learning English. I have just several native speakers in the past who I've been talking to. So, and I work as a professor at medical university, but unfortunately, at my university, we teach only in Russian. So I don't have any actually reason to be learning English. But I'm just so in love with English that it's such a huge part of my life right now, so that I just can't stop doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, we will talk about this passion about English later on. And it's interesting that you said I never been overseas in English-speaking countries. It's like me. I never travel abroad. I just use my English on the internet in meetings like this also, which is a proof that you don't need to move to the US or the UK, Australia or things like places like that to speak English. It's possible to do without traveling. And this is, I usually say this is the magic of the internet. So I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I'm happy to know that you are like me, the same, the same pattern.
Yeah. I totally agree with that because I know that it's one of the myths that people hold around English. So they feel that, as soon as I move to an English-speaking country, I'm going to improve my English and I'm going to just skyrocket. So it's going to happen very, very quickly. But unless you're doing something purposefully, unless you're investing time, it's not going to happen even if you live in an English-speaking country. And learning English and communicating with people on the internet, with many people on the internet, I actually found out that there are so many people who've been living in the US, in Australia, in the UK for decades, and they still can't speak English just because they are living in the environment where they have to speak in their native languages. Maybe they are refraining themselves from going out of their comfort zone just because they are afraid of making mistakes. They're afraid of being judged and so on. And they're just spending time at their home in their safe space, and they're not doing anything to change the situation until a certain point in their life when they finally come to realize, okay, so this is the time when I need to change something. I have to do something about this thing. I have this problem. So this is the time to take actions. But sometimes it takes them decades to realize.
Yeah.
So, and at the same time, I had another situation when I was meeting people who've never been abroad, like you and like me, and they've been learning English maybe for just 2 or 3 years, and they can speak and they can express themselves very well, and they can hold very beautiful conversations. So I think this is the myth that people should forget about.
Good point. What do you think is make the difference between like people that live abroad and they don't speak, even they are surrounded to natives, and people that in a few months or years can speak English very well or with a confidence. So, what do you think is the point?
I think the main point is, are you ready to take actions? Are you ready to do something? Because
Yeah.
I think that people believe that as soon as they come to an English speaking country, they're gonna just soak in English in their mind, and that's how it's gonna be happening. They just start talking by themselves without putting any effort. But it's not working like this. In any case, whether you're living in an English-speaking country or you're not living in an English-speaking country, you have invest time, you have invest effort, you have to expose yourself to the situations which are not going to be comfortable for you. Maybe it's easier when you live in an English-speaking country because you just need to go buy something and you have a native
Yeah.
speaker to talk. So if you live in a non-English speaking country, it's going to be harder for you. You have to find other ways when you can talk to other people in English. But either way, you have to do something. You have to take actions. So otherwise, nothing is going to happen, and it doesn't mean anything that you're living in an English speaking country. It's not going to come to you by itself.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Actually, I think it's one of the most important things. I have seen people that didn't speak English at all a few months ago, and in 3 months, because they took action, they just start to do something. They start to speak English. So it's like it's crazy. It's crazy because if you do something about your English, of course, our English is going to be better because you were working on it. You were getting effort. You were doing something. So yeah, taking action is so important, and I totally agree with you. Let me ask you this question, Katya. Why English? Why did you decide to study English? You said that you don't use English at work. You live in Russia. I think in Russia you don't need to speak English all the time. So why did you decide to study English?
It's an interesting question. I think when you're studying at school, English is going to be the main language that you're going to be studying. So I had English at my school, but I think like it's happening in every country all over the world. It was not good. It was not meant to teach me how to speak English. Then I had English at my university when I was a postgraduate student. I also had another year of English. But again, I couldn't talk as a result of all those studies. And then for many years, I was not doing anything with my English. And actually, exactly 5 years ago, I got to know a news at my job that probably my university one day would start teaching in English. So the head of our university had this idea that, okay, we need to start growing. We need to expand. We need to invite foreigners. And it's going to be great if we would be able to teach them in English. And it was during the summertime. Most of the professors were on their vacations. So I was one of the first people who got to know this news. And it was said like, oh, if you want to be having better salary, so it's better to start right now, to learn the language. And I told myself, oh, it's a great thing. I have to take advantage of this news. And usually I am not a person who is very spontaneous to take actions and make decisions, but I remember that at the end of that week, when I just got to know this news, I was already enrolled into an English course in my town. So that's how it started. At the beginning, I had this reason why I started learning English, but probably 3 years ago, the head of our university changed his mind. He started thinking, oh, it's going to be very hard. We're not ready. We are situated in a very remote place. Students are not going to be they're not going to be interested in coming here because it's going to be very expensive for them. There is nothing interesting here. So he changed his mind 3 years ago. But at that time, I'd already done 2 years of studying English. I changed a lot and I learned a lot and I was able to do many things. And another very interesting and important point, I was so in love with the language at that time that I just couldn't stop. And I just told myself, I'm going to continue, even though I don't need it right now. Maybe one day in the future, I will have another opportunity, another reason. And anyway, it's great to communicate with people from all over the world. It's amazing to get to know other cultures, other countries, even virtually. So I'm going to continue. So that's why English. Yeah.
That's so interesting because, having a motivation to do something, having a reason, a purpose, it's everything that students need to start to study English. Because if you don't have the right motivation, if you don't have anything interesting to, why I will study English, why? I don't have any reason. In your case, it was, I want to make more money. So I have this opportunity here at the university. So I will prepare myself. I will be diligent. I will work harder before everyone. So I want to get this opportunity. So even later on, they changed their mind. For you, was a blast to have this opportunity to study English, because now you have a lot of opportunities, like not just in professional environment, but if you want to travel outside of your country, you can, because you speak English. So English is the language of the world. So you are prepared to do everything you want. Personally, for me, English has changed my life in a way that I couldn't expect. Because right now I had the opportunity to have other clients that I didn't before, because I didn't speak English. I have the opportunity to travel, and I can because I speak English. So English opens so many doors. So it's so important, and you need to have a motivation to do it, the right motivation. If you don't have a good reason, you will give up in a few weeks or months. So it happens.
Yeah. And it's interesting that right now I don't really have kind of a solid reason. So I don't need, for my job, for example, English anymore. But somehow I always say it, that right now I'm so in love with the language that I just can't stop. I found out that English is such a beautiful language. It has a very specific melody. I like the sounds. I like working on my pronunciation. I like working on my prosody. And I like how native speakers speak. So that I think that is my idea right now, to be able to speak like a native speaker, but not because I think that having an accent is a bad thing, not because I think that I don't like my accent, but just because I'm so in love with the language that I just want to have this language kind of inside of me. So I want to fully be in English, because it's already a huge part of my personality, I would say, because thanks to English, I actually discovered many facets of my personality that I had never been knowing before. So it helped me in many ways.
Let me ask you this question. Do you have a different personality in Russian and in English? I'm asking this because I have a different personality. In Portuguese, I'm so much more shy than I am in speaking Spanish or speaking English. So do you have a different personality, like a different way to speak and to act in English than you have in Russian?
Yeah, definitely. I think
Really?
I'm pretty much like you because definitely I have two different personalities. So I wouldn't say that it's like two different personalities. I would say it's just um, I allow my personality to show up in different ways, in different aspects when it comes to different languages. I'm
Mhm.
like you. When it comes to my Russian, I'm a very shy person. I'm a very introverted person. I don't like speaking a lot. So when there are many people around me, I'm the last person who's going to be talking only when I'm
Same,
asked.
same
I'm not
here.
going to be talking the first. No. So you have to ask me first. And I think it's happening. So my idea, and I've been reading a lot about this topic, is that language has a very deep connection to the culture. And so when you're growing up, you're kind of learning about your culture through the language. So that's how your teachers, that's how your parents are introducing you to the culture. So I remember when I was growing up, my parents were telling me, so you shouldn't be loud. You shouldn't interrupt people. You should be quiet. You shouldn't open your mouth a lot because it's not polite. So showing your mouth and opening your mouth a lot, you shouldn't be showing up too much because people are going to think that you are kind of arrogant or something like this. You're kind of trying to show off something, yeah, something like this. So, and that's really shaped my personality. So I think I was so influenced by all those words that I was constantly said when I was growing up, and it's not only the way how my parents taught me; it's just the way how the culture works. And as a result, in addition to having this kind of introverted personality, I have this culture influence. So in my native language, I am a very close person. But when it comes to English, I don't have this connection of the culture to English. So that's how I think about different languages. And actually, you can allow yourself to be whoever you want it to be, maybe your whole life, because finally, you don't have these culture restrictions which are connected to the language that you've been speaking your whole life. So actually, English for me is the way to discover some facets of my personality that I hadn't been even knowing before. So, and in English, I'm a much more open person. I sometimes people say to me that I am an extrovert when I talk in English. I take challenges, so I wouldn't dare to have this interview in my native language,
The same
but
with me.
I dare to do it in English, just because I feel okay. This part of me is taking actions. This part of me likes taking challenges. This part of me is actually searching for challenges. So, and that's amazing. You know, I feel that English liberates me. It helps me to find another ways to discover who I am and to finally allow these sides of myself to show up and be present in life. So that's why I feel so happy whenever I'm talking in English. So yeah, definitely I have different personalities.
Yeah, this is a great point because I feel the same thing that you said, exactly the same thing. When I'm speaking in, I would dare to speak in a podcast in Portuguese. I don't consider it this chance because I can't do it. I am so shy in Portuguese to do it. But in English, as you mentioned, we don't get our culture. We don't bring to English because it's different. So what you said about your parents, what your parents said to you when you were a child. I was talking to a native English speaker a few time ago, and she said the same thing. She said people, the parents said, don't speak, stay quiet, don't speak when somebody is speaking, don't speak out loud, so be quiet, be shy. And then a lot of people bring this to English also. They think they need to be quiet, they don't need to open their mouth. So when you just break this pattern and you think in English is different, in English I can build myself the way I want, then I think you get free to do everything you want. And this is the reason I'm doing this, because I'm building myself in English, but I'm not getting my old beliefs, my old, my cultural part to this new life that I am living now. So I think this is really interesting. We could have just a full episode about this, because this is a really interesting point. And yeah, I think definitely we need to take this in mind when you are speaking in English, when you are studying English, because it's easier for you if you don't just break this pattern and start to do something different, right?
Yeah. And I know that many people actually very often say that they feel limited in English. So they feel that they express themselves very well. I think at the beginning, it might be just because you are lacking a lot of vocabulary. But with time, when you're gaining more and more experience and vocabulary, actually, it should be, you should forget about that. So I would encourage people to think a little bit in a different way about English. So you should stop thinking that English is restricting you in any way, that you are not the same person while you're speaking English. Just think about English or any type of different language that you're learning. It's kind of a blank page. You're starting from the blank page, and you can do whatever you actually want to do with your personality. Also, I think it's very important to remember it's not like we are pretending in a new language. It's not about pretension. I'm not a pretentious person. I'm just allowing other parts of myself to be more present that usually are hidden and suppressed when I speak in my native language. And because of that, I actually think that I am a much better communicator when it comes to speaking in English. I feel so much freer when I speak in English. So I think that's an amazing thing. And that's an amazing experience that English is giving to me. So that's why it's one of the reasons why I love English so much.
Yeah, I think English definitely can help us to be a better person, a better communicator, a better business owner, a better, student, a better whatever you want, because you can build yourself, you can do whatever you want. As you mentioned, start from zero. Like it's a new thing. I will start from scratch. So good point, good point. And let me ask you this question, Katya. In your English learning journey, what was your biggest challenge that you faced in the past that you already overcome? That it was really hard for you, but you did, and now you are free of this.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for me was to realize what are the beliefs that I was holding that were restricting me, and what are the mistakes that I was doing with my learning process that were kind of holding me back, that were not allowing me to progress faster. So when it comes to beliefs, I was having many beliefs. So for example, at a certain point, I was thinking that it's not going to be possible for me to feel exactly how I feel when I speak my native language. So I felt, oh, it's going to be like a struggle till the rest of my life. So I'm not going to be able to express myself at the same level how I'm able to do it in my native language. But somehow I don't even know how exactly it happened. And it seems to me like it happened very quickly. There was just one person who was able to find very right words at a very exact point. And it just changed my attitude towards this belief completely. And so that's how I think I kind of broke out of my cage that I was at that time. So I always have this comparison. So till a certain point, I felt like I was in a cage, and I had many negative thoughts and limiting beliefs about my English. But thanks to one empowering speech of a very wise person, I was able to break out of that cage, and I kind of freed myself. So, and now I feel so much happy, and I feel so much freedom whenever I'm speaking English. So I don't have this belief anymore that because English is not a struggle anymore for me. So, and when it comes to some learning techniques, I think one of the crucial things that I realized at a certain point was about illusion of learning. I think many English learners fall into the trap of illusion of learning because we tend to do things which are easier for us. So it's so much easier to watch a video on YouTube. It's so much easier to sit down and read a book. It's so much easier to listen to a podcast. So all of this is so much easier than exposing yourself to real life and actually start talking to people, whether these are native speakers or not native speakers. So for me, it was very hard. It was one of my biggest challenges. So, and I was kind of procrastinating on exposing myself to real life. I was doing a lot of passive things. But at a certain point, I just told myself, so that's enough. I can't do it anymore because these things are not working for me. Okay, I do many things. I spend hours learning English, but what are the ways that I'm learning English in? So these passive things, they're not going to bring me anywhere. So I have to start speaking. And when finally I started speaking, first it was like a very little experience, and I was very afraid. And I started feeling, oh, that's working. So, and I started doing more and more speaking experiences, and I started feeling more and more free. So that's when I realized what are the things that were working for me and which are not working. So that's was one of my biggest challenges, to realize what I was doing wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you about exposition. I think this is really, really important because it's not, and I'm not saying that's easy because, we are humans. We are afraid of being judged and everything. But when you allow yourself to show up on camera, for example, and speak another language, even if we are not speaking perfectly, even we are making mistakes, when we allow ourselves to do that, I don't know, something here changed that all of a sudden you start to speak. With me, it was the same. When I just start to study languages, like I start with Spanish, and I decided to record a video speaking my broke Spanish. That video changed myself completely because I start to speak more and more, and then I start to apply the same thing in English. And as I mentioned, in Portuguese, I don't dare to do things like that. But in English, in Spanish, I do. Just because I allow myself to expose myself in a danger situation, in a thing that I'm not comfortable doing it. So this make me free. So now I don't have any fear. So I think is really important. So I totally agree with you. Katya, how about motivation and confidence? How do you think this can help students to improve? Because I noticed that you are very confident, you speak in a really good way. And this is not common. I don't see a lot of people doing that. So do you think it's important, motivation and confidence? What do you think about it?
Yeah, thank you so much for your compliment. I think it's very important. So when it comes to motivation, actually, it's a very hard question for me because many people are asking me, so what is your motivation? I actually don't know. So I think my motivation is probably because I'm in love with the language. So this is what drives me to continue, because I just want to live in English. I want to breathe in English. I want to dream in English. I want to watch and listen everything only in English. So I would love to be spending my whole day only in English, just because I love this language so much. So I'm so passionate about it. I'm probably even obsessed with that. So for me, motivation is not a problem. But maybe for some people who don't have this passion, to have a motivation is really important. So I think first off, you have to have a goal. So you have to know for what purpose you're learning the language. So you have to set up this goal for yourself. And then you just have to have this desire, this wish to achieve your goal. And you have also, I think it's very important to celebrate your small wins and your small achievements, because if you set up a goal to achieve maybe in 1 year or in 5 years, so what you're going to be doing during this 1 year or 5 years? So you're going to be just waiting for that goal to come true one day. You're not going to be motivated because of that. So you have to break this goal to mini goals. Maybe 1 year goal, 1 month goal, one week goal, and so on. And you have to celebrate every step that you're achieving. So, and that's how you can stay motivated on your path towards your main goal, to your, the goal of your life. So I think motivation is very important, because this is the energy that drives us towards the end goal that we wish to have. And when it comes to confidence, I think it's also a very important thing, because confidence plays a huge role in a way how we feel while we are speaking. And actually, it influences a lot on the quality of our speaking. Because if we have many fears, if we have a lot of negative thoughts about our English, if we feel that we are not confident, and if every experience of talking to another person makes us so nervous that we can't really say sometimes several words together, you're not going to be performing very well. So you have to have this confidence, because when you feel confident, when you feel, okay, I'm doing great, even when I'm making mistakes. So let's just do it. Let's take this challenge. You're going to be performing much better, because you're not thinking about your mistakes. You're not thinking about being judged by another person. So I think it's crucial. But at the same time, I also know, and I think everyone knows, we are not born with this 100% confidence. Confidence is a skill that should be developed. So you have to start from something. And most of the time, this something is when you are very afraid and when you are nervous. But you just have to do it, because there is no any other chance. There is no any other opportunity. So there is no any other way. So if you want to improve your speaking skills, you have to speak. You can't improve your speaking skills watching movies. You can't improve your speaking skills reading books. It's not going to help you. So you have to expose yourself. So you actually, there are two ways how you can do it. You can do it gradually, exposing yourself every now and then, just a little bit, but it's going to be helping you to gain this confidence, to build this confidence. And the second way, which is much more complicated, it's when you just throw yourself to the biggest challenge that you can create for yourself, and you just do it. And every other challenge, which is a little bit smaller than the first one, are going to be so much easier for you. So you need just to think what path you would like to take. Yeah.
I personally prefer the second option, because I totally believe that when you put yourself in a challenge situation, everything becomes more easier after that. So but it's personal. It's my personal approach. Of course, you can build your confidence, gradually, step by step, and for a lot of people, it makes sense. But for me, I prefer to do the second option, just because it works for me. Like when I am in a situation that I am not, that I am not in the control, that is totally out of my comfort zone, I perform. I don't know why, but I perform better. So this is my point. You told me that you don't know your motivation, but I think I can tell you. Looking at you, and we are close because we are part of the same community. I see that one of the motivation that help you to continue to study English is because you love to. I can see that you love to inspire people. When you are inspiring somebody, pushing themselves to get better, and I can see that you are so happy doing that. I can. It's easy to perceive. It's really easy to see. Oh, Katya loves inspire people. Katya loves to make them be confident. So I can see this in the. I don't know if you noticed that, but for me, when I look at you, I notice that you have like a passion about English because you would like to help people to do the same. Am I right?
Yeah, I would love everyone to feel like I feel, because I was in people's shoes, at a certain point in my English journey. So I remember how it felt, how I was afraid, how many negative thoughts I had around my English, how limited and restricted I felt. So I was not happy. I wanted to improve. I had my goals. I wanted to communicate with people from all over the world, but I just couldn't because of those many reasons. And when finally I was able to get myself free, I I was so happy about that. So it's an amazing feeling when you feel this freedom, when you don't feel any restrictions. You're not in a cage anymore. So there are no these bars that are holding you in this space where it's so scary, and there are so many negative thoughts around you. So and I just want to tell about this to other people. I want everyone to feel like I am feeling right now, so that it's possible. And actually, it's interesting because most of the people who I've been meeting in our communities, in all communities that I've been, they have an amazing English, and the only problem they have is actually happening in their minds. So
exactly.
These are the people themselves who are putting themselves in those cages and who are not allowing themselves to feel free, because they are constantly telling themselves, I'm bad at English, I'm not a good English speaker, people are going to judge me, if I make mistakes I'm going to be looking stupid. So, and they just limit themselves by themselves, and they need to realize it. And as soon as they realize it, everything is getting so much easier. And it's great. Also, I like what you mentioned. It's great to have a community. So so when you are surrounded by people who are on the same journey as you are, and who are experiencing the same problems, the same troubles, the same doubts, and everything, it's so much easier to go through some of the difficulties that you have on your way. And it's so easy to keep motivated. It's so much easier to stay on track. It's so much easier to be inspired and to inspire other people. So it's so much easier just to continue with your journey. So yeah, so I would love everyone to feel what I feel. I like sharing my experience because I'm so happy right now about my English. Not 100%, because I'm a perfectionist. So I still know that I need to improve many aspects of my English, but I can express myself much better than I can express myself in my native language. This is exactly the thing that I am so proud of. So I'm so much a better communicator in English.
Yeah. You said something that I will say that about community, about to surround ourselves to good people, positive people that can help you. in my opinion, is one of the best ways to improve your confidence, because if you are surrounded people that are very positive, they just want to support you, to make you get better. So it's impossible you don't improve, because everybody is pushing you. It's helping you to go up, to show up and speak. And in my own experience was like that. I surround myself with good people. So if somebody are judging me, I just get away. I don't want to be close to people that don't help me to improve. So because I don't need somebody to say, oh, you are making this mistake, you are making that mistake, because this won't help me to improve. But for me, if somebody said, Fred, when you say this, it was amazing, keep doing. Oh, that was great, so keep doing, you are great. So even I know my English is not good at that time, when somebody say, Fred, I believe in you, keep doing, for me it's like a fool, to continue to expose myself. So I work like this, and I think a lot of people work like the same. It's the same way. So if you want to build your confidence, surround yourself with positive people, with good people that will support you, that won't judge you, that won't criticize you. So I think this is 50% of the success to speak English, because I experienced that, and Katya said the same thing.
Yeah. And also, I think it's very important when these people, they not only do they support you, but they also challenge you. So, because this is the thing that can help you to be better. This is the thing that keeps you motivated. So, it's really great to have some people who are probably a little bit in front of you, who've experienced a little bit more than you've experienced, and they are showing you their example that it's possible, and they tell you what exactly you need to do in order to get even better, and they are constantly challenging you. So they are telling you, okay, you did this great, that's amazing, you did a great job, but so what would you think about this thing? This is another small thing that you could do. So what do you think about it? So maybe it can help you to get a little bit better. Maybe it's going to help you to gain a little bit more confidence. So I think it's also important to be surrounded by people who are constantly challenging you. So that's what I like. I actually like challenges. So I like searching new challenges, because every time when I take a new challenge, I feel that my English improves so fast and my confidence grows so fast. So that's amazing. So I'm constantly in search. Oh, what else can I do in order to challenge myself? Because I feel that maybe I'm a little bit addicted now to this feeling that you have at the end of taking it.
The same with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to ask you about this, Katya, because you said that you love challenges. I love challenges too. I'm obsessed about challenges. I think this is one of the best ways to improve our English and our life in general. So, and a few days ago, you challenged us to have a speech, in the community. So, what do you think about this? To have like this type of challenge, have a speech in English, how do you think this can help a student to improve? I want to know your thoughts about this, because for me, it's a thing that I really love to do. I love to challenge people also. I love to see them scared and then they overcome that fear and everything. So what do you think about challenge yourself to have a speech in English? How can this help have students to improve, in your opinion?
I think it's going to help them enormously, because I think it's one of the biggest fears that people have in any language possible. So I know that many people are just afraid to death when they need to present something, even in their native languages, even if it's in front of your boss and several of your colleagues, something like this, in your native language. So, and when you need to present something in English in front of many people, it's so much more complicated. It's so much more scary. So, and when you dare to do this, and when you have this experience speaking in front of many people in English, and at the end you realize, oh, I did that. I'm able to do this. So that's such a huge win. You have such a liberating feeling at the end. I think actually this is the biggest challenge. So maybe it's a kind of an end point of all challenges when you need to speak in front of people. But of course, there are many layers of this public speech. So it's one thing when you're talking in front of a small audience online. It's another challenge when you need to speak in front of big audience offline. It's another challenge when you need to speak on YouTube, for example. It's another challenge when you need to speak on a podcast. It's another challenge when you record a video and you post it on a Facebook group, for example. So there are many different types of this speech challenge, but I believe this is the most helpful challenge because this really frees you. And I actually like speaking in public, even in my native language, because of my profession, I need to deliver many lectures. And I like doing it because I like teaching. I also think that public speech, it's kind of a teaching because you think about it, you need to present something, you need to prepare probably sometimes a little bit, sometimes a lot. And then you present it and, it's kind of translating your knowledge to another people. So it's not only you who is benefiting from this. This is also about other people who are going to be listening to you and who are going to be learning something from you. So I like public speeches. I think this is the best exercise because what is the purpose of the language? It's communication, it's speaking. So, and this is kind of a end point of any speaking practice, giving a speech. Yeah.
I think the same. I think having speech in English or any language is the hardest thing you can do because you are vulnerable at that situation. It's not, you are totally, and sometimes you are totally scared about this. And for me, it doesn't have difference if you are talking to 1,000 people or to 30 people. It's the same. People get stuck because of that. Oh, I can speak to 10 people, but if you put myself in front of 1,000, I couldn't. I can't do anything. But it's the same thing. If you are on the internet, for example, if you are on YouTube speaking for 1,000 of people, it's the same thing that you are speaking to 10 people. You're just looking at the camera and you just need to deliver your message in the better way you can. So when I noticed that, I got free of to communicate. For example, I had the opportunity to speak to 1,500 people on YouTube once. The first time I went to a live on YouTube was to talk to for 20 minutes to 1,500 people. Of course, I was scared. Of course, but I love that feeling. After I love that feeling. And after that day, I decided to start a podcast because I noticed that people were inspired by my words. So I noticed that, wow, I have such a power in my voice. I can deliver my message. So right now, if I go to speak to 100 people, okay, it's okay. I'm not scared about this because I already spoke to almost 2,000 people. So yeah, it's like a feeling that we got like, I can do that. But it's the same thing. If you can speak to 1,000,000 of people, it'll be the same. Only thing you need to think that you are prepared to do it. You need to believe in yourself and that you can deliver a good message to them. So I love, speech challenge also. It's a thing that drives me. During that day that you challenged us, I noticed that a lot of people said, I want to participate. But in that day, in the day that we will do the challenge, just three show up. I think people really, how can I say, they hold them back so much to live the experience, right? Because if you allow yourself to just do it, even if it's not perfect, but I will do this, at the end, you feel so much better. You feel more confident. And that barriers that you had, they will fall down just because you start to do something. As you mentioned at the beginning, you need to act, you need to do something, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a very interesting experience because um, for several minutes, you are a famous person. You are a celebrity because you are on a pedestal, and
Yeah.
everyone's attention is on you, and everyone is listening to you. And that's amazing because I think most of the time we are used to thinking, "Oh, I have nothing to say. I'm a boring person. I'm not an interesting person. Nobody is going to be listening to me." And when you have this experience, when everyone's attention is on you, and you have actually something to tell other people, you have actually something to teach other people, you feel okay. So I am an important person, and that's how you're gaining confidence. Because sometimes we are refraining ourselves from speaking just because we think that we have nothing to say and people are not going to be interested in what we say. So that's why we feel not confident. So I think this experience is very important. It's liberating. And again, it's very addictive. So once you do it, you feel, oh, so well, when and how and what about I'm going to be speaking next time? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to stop when you start to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I still remember my very first experience in English. I I deliberately asked for that challenge because I had felt that I needed to do it because I already tried some things and I felt, oh, they are working. But there was one thing that I still hadn't done, and I really wanted to do it because I felt, okay, when as soon as I have this experience, everything is going to be possible for me. So I asked, I had this experience to present something in English for 15 minutes in front of, I think, 30 people. And it was an amazing experience for me. And I felt so confident and I felt so inspired and motivated after that. And I told myself, okay, I can do it. So there is no any reason to keep this belief that I can't do it anymore. So I have the proof that I actually can do it. So let's just do it. That is what I was saying to myself.
Amazing. I think people will be very inspired to challenge themselves after this episode. And for me, this is one of the most exciting subjects, challenges. I love challenges. And speaking about that, you challenge yourself to start a podcast, and which is amazing. I'm listening those episodes, and it's so inspired. It's so great. So can you tell us a little bit about your podcast and how people can find it?
Yeah, of course. So it was one of my challenges, and I had been postponing to do it for several months because I was telling myself, oh, I have nothing to say. What if people are not going to be interested in that? What if I won't have any ideas of what to speak about? So I had many doubts before I started this podcast. But actually, I had several things that happened at once, and they just made me think about it once again. And I just told myself, I just have to do it. There are so many coincidences at once. So I have to start it. So I needed to create a 90-day challenge. And I just came across a platform on the internet that was suggesting 90-day free hosting for your podcast. And I thought, that's an amazing coincidence. I have to start my podcast. So I searched a little bit more about this platform. I started thinking what I could talk about. And I just told myself, I'm going to be doing it for 90 days and let's see what's going to happen at the end. Maybe I can stop And it's going to be a win because I would be doing it for 90 days. And it's a huge achievement to do something every week, because I told myself I want to do an episode weekly. So in any way, I'm going to have this experience, and then I can decide, because now I don't have any experience and I'm constantly telling myself, oh, I can't do it because I have so many doubts. So let's take this challenge, let's do it. And at the end, I can decide whether I want to continue or maybe I want to stop. But anyway, it's going to be an experience. So, and that's how it started. And I found out that it was not so difficult how I had thought about it at the beginning. And yeah, there are some challenges here, but it's not as difficult as I thought about it. So my podcast is called Free in English, and my
Good name.
initial my initial idea was to talk about some common challenges that English learners face, like making mistakes, a fear of being judged, illusion of learning, impatience, and so on. All those things that I've experienced myself, and so I can relate to my own experience, and it was easy for me to talk about it. But right now, I'm thinking what I can change about my podcast, because I'm kind of running out of ideas which are related to mindset. So I'm thinking about maybe storytelling, maybe a little bit of vocabulary, maybe a little bit of grammar. Maybe I could invite people on my podcast and interview them, because I think what you're doing is just great. When you talk to other people that can share their experience, because it's so inspiring to listen to other people's experiences. And I have so many friends who speak English and who have this experience to share. So podcasting, it's my huge win for now. And I'm so happy about that I allowed myself to embark on this journey with a podcast. And I feel a little bit like a celebrity, because there are people who are listening to me, and that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, this is amazing. And as we mentioned before, exposition is so good to improve your English. And you don't need to start with a big thing. You can start with the things that, with your journey, for example, as you did, you start to tell your experience as an English learner. So, and with the time, you will start to gain more confidence, and you will start to be more comfortable speaking the language. And all of a sudden, you will notice that, wow, my English is getting so much better just because I am exposing myself. I am speaking. I am getting new experiences. So I think every English learner should have a YouTube channel or an Instagram account just to share their knowledge, to share their experience. Not because you need to cheat something, but because this will help you to develop yourself and gain the confidence that you need. This was my purpose at the beginning, right? I want to help other people, but I want to help myself too. So it is a win-win situation. And how can people find your podcast?
You can, I think you can just type in English, Free in English. So this is the name of my podcast. I think you can find it on any platform like Apple Podcast or Spotify or Google Podcast. So, or even you can type it on any search engine, because there is a website where you can listen to the episodes directly. So you don't need to have any app on your phone or on your computer. You can just go on the website and you can listen to episodes from there. I also wanted to mention that it's very important sometimes to listen to yourself, whether it's going to be a public speech which is recorded, or maybe it's a video that you recorded, or an audio, or maybe a podcast episode. Because sometimes we have a very wrong perception of ourselves when we are just speaking. For example, I used to think that I speak very slowly, that I make a lot of pauses, that my pronunciation is not very good, that my intonation is not very good, and I sound awful. And it was happening until I started recording myself and I started listening to myself, especially when it comes to perception of the time. I think it's interesting because when I speak and when I'm stuck and I make a pause because of being stuck, it seems to me like there are seconds when finally I can find another way to explain myself and I get unstuck. But actually, these are not even seconds. These are, parts of the second. But for you, while you're stuck, it seems so long. But for another person who is listening to you, it's so quick and they're not even noticing that you were stuck, that you made a pause. So it's really great to listen to yourself recorded, because sometimes we have this wrong perception of the way how we speak. And actually, in reality, we are sounding much better. This is the thing that I realized when I started recording myself. Actually, I'm not so bad like I'm used to think about it. So I think it's very useful to be listening to yourself. Also, it helps you to maybe start being accustomed to your voice, because it's one of the things that people don't like. So they say, "Oh, I don't like listening to my voice. My voice is so different when it's recorded." And at the beginning, it might be very weird to listen to yourself, but with practice, you're getting more and more used to listening to your voice. And finally, you start. So I wouldn't say that I love my voice 100%, but I would say that I am so much used to listening to it right now. So I'm okay with that. But I think that I can work on this. But I think it's important to listen to yourself. Also, you can notice your mistakes that probably you're not aware of. And having this experience, you can know what you need to work on. So it's great when you're recording yourself.
Yeah, I think everyone has this feeling that I don't like my voice when I speak. Even in our mother language, it's so weird when we hear ourselves speaking. But as you mentioned, it's important to hear yourself speaking in English, for example, because you can be more aware about your mistakes and about the things that you think is not good, but it is. As you mentioned about pauses. For me, it's the opposite. I am like obsessed about to take my filler words off, because I use a lot filler words. I'm reducing, but after to watch myself, I noticed that the filler words that I use is part of my speech. So it makes my communication more natural than than before. So I think no, it's not a bad thing. I just need to balance, but I don't need to completely remove it from my speech. So I noticed that even listen native English speakers, they do the same. So sometimes we think the way we speak is not good, but when you start to watch yourself, you see, no, this is good. It's making me get me more natural. So this is the same with your pauses. For me, it's so natural when you pause. It's not a long time. It's natural. For I don't see this the same thing that you said you see in your communication. So sometimes it's just our view of something, but when you start to watch ourselves and be more present in this aspect, you notice that it's not like that. Is you're doing a great job, so you don't need to have this in mind. So I think this happened with a lot of people also.
Yeah. So I think it's a great exercise. And like you said, so if we don't make pauses, if we don't use filler words at all, we're going to be sounding like robots. So it's not natural. It's going to be weird, and people are going to be thinking about you like you are a walking library or dictionary or something like this. So you're not a real person. And even in our native languages, we are constantly getting stuck. We are constantly making mistakes. We are pausing a lot and so on. But it's interesting that we are so much more strict to ourselves when we speak another language. So when we get stuck in our native language, we don't start thinking, oh, I'm such a bad person speaking this language. I have to learn more. I have to learn new vocabulary. I have to learn more about grammar. I'm so bad about this. So you don't think like this, but somehow as soon as you start speaking English, you don't give a credit to yourself. You're speaking another language, so you are not going to be perfect, and you are not even perfect in your native language. So it was one of the realizations that I had in the past, and somehow I hadn't even thought about it till a certain moment. I remember when I heard about this idea, I was kind of surprised, and I told myself, okay, let's just check for one day how I'm doing in my native language. And I just went to my job, and I was started just recording, just taking a note every time when I was stuck, or I couldn't remember a certain word, or I was making a pause. And, I was surprised because I could get stuck in front of my students, having a group of students who I was teaching. I could get stuck delivering a lecture to 200 students. I could forget a simple word. For example, I remember I forget a name of a drug, which is very common because it's just part of my everyday life. I prescribe this drug, maybe not daily, but very often, and I forgot the name. And it was a little bit embarrassing, but I didn't tell myself, okay, you are so bad. You
Yeah.
to stop speaking your native language till the point when you are perfect. I didn't tell it to myself. And then I told myself, so why I am so strict to myself when I'm talking in English? It's not even in my native language. And I'm making so many mistakes in my native language. Why I'm thinking in this way? So that changed a lot in my perception when it comes to English.
I think everybody should have this experience, to allow yourself to see in your own language the mistakes you made, everything, because you start to see that's the same thing with English. It's not different. So great experience. And
Yeah.
Katya, I want to know before we finish, I want to know a little bit more about your experience as a ambassador in Hadar's program, because we didn't talk about this, but I think this is a big part of your English learning journey. And I want to hear a little bit about this experience that you have, helping people to improve their English there in Hadar's community.
Yeah, that's an amazing experience. I feel that it's I think it's kind of a reason for me to continue working on my English, because without it I wouldn't have had any reason at all apart from my passion, and I think probably it would be very hard to me to continue. But being an ambassador, it's so inspiring experience to me, and because of this role that I have, I actually have the opportunity to share with other people my experience, and I can show them the path that I was going through, and I can share some tips and tricks which were working for me. They're not going to be working 100% for everyone because everyone is different, it's obvious, but probably they're going to be working for some people, and some people because of that can start feeling so much better when it comes to them speaking in English. So I think this is an amazing experience, and I feel so honored and privileged. And it was a very surprising news for me when I was invited to be an ambassador, because I hadn't expected it. It happened like a miracle to me, because I remember we finished new sound course, and I was just a student who was showing up on Facebook page every day. I was going live every day because I knew that it's going to be helpful for me. So I took this challenge, and I was going live every day on Facebook page. So I was very noticeable person, I guess. And I remember when we finished new sound, first I was invited to share my experience during the interview with Hadar, along with other students, my peers. There were 6 of us, and we had that interview. And I remember probably 1 week later, I got an email from Yelena, and she asked me, oh, would you like to be an ambassador? So we are not 100% sure. Probably we won't do this idea, but I'm asked just in case, would you consider being an ambassador? And to my shame, at that point, I hadn't even known what the word ambassador means. So I needed to check this word in the dictionary. And when I knew what it means, I thought, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And actually, I thought, that's a great challenge. I want to take this challenge. And I said yes. And so that's how I got this role to be an ambassador. And that's an amazing experience to me because it's also, again, about challenging myself, because for me, it's not easy. So many things that I do being an ambassador are not the easy things. So I need to challenge myself. So even though sometimes I feel that I'm tired, even though sometimes I feel I'm not inspired, maybe I have a bad day and I tend to think in a negative way about my English, but I just have to go on a conversation group and I have to host and I have to speak in English, even though I feel bad on that day. And it's not the best day in English for me, and it's hard for me to express my thoughts, but I still have to do it. And I think that when you go through these hard moments, when you feel not like speaking in English, it also helps you to grow. And it also helps you to gain more and more confidence. So this is an amazing experience. And I feel that I'm blessed to witness how people are growing during the program. It's great to see how they were in the beginning. It's great to see how they're taking small steps during the program. And it's amazing to see who they are at the end of the program, how freer they feel in English, and how they are ready to just to go out of their comfort zone and finally start speaking in real life with real people in English without feeling, I'm a bad English speaker. So that's an amazing experience. So it's not only about teaching, it's not only about challenging myself, but also it's an amazing opportunity to see how people grow. I think this is the thing that inspires me all the time too, and this is the thing that keeps me motivated. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think you didn't said that, but I think at the same in this experience when you are like you are an ambassador, you are helping people, you are giving, but at the same time you are taking, because I think we learn so much when we are in this kind of position. Like I need to be in a good day to speak to them, to help them, to encourage them. But sometimes we are not in the best day. But even in bad situations, we can go there and we can talk to people. We can help them in some way. I think we learned so much from this kind of situation, right? I don't know in your own experience, but for me, when I am helping other people, I think I'm taking more than I'm giving.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because every time when you're talking to other people in English, and it doesn't matter who that person is, it doesn't actually matter what kind of, let's say, level that person has, you are going to be gaining something yourself too. I think this is another thing which is really important to remember, because sometimes people tend to think about levels of English. So, and they think, okay, I have this level, let's say I am B2 level. I don't want to talk to people who are B1 or A2 levels, because I'm not going to gain anything talking to those people. I want to talk only to people who are B2 or C1 or C2, or ideally to a native speaker, because this is how I can learn. But I think it's a totally wrong idea. And it doesn't matter who we are talking to, because we are talking. And this is already an experience. And we always can learn something from another person. And sometimes it's not even about the language. Sometimes another person tells you about an amazing podcast, a great movie, a fabulous, fantastic book, or something like this, or just express a certain idea. And you say to yourself, wow, I learned something so amazing today. So I think we can learn every time when we are talking, and it doesn't matter who we are talking to. It doesn't matter what we are talking about. The main idea that we are talking. Yeah.
I think people forget that studying English is not about English. It's about life. It's about experiences. So, and of course, it's so much easier even when you are talking to people that speak in a lower level than you, they can help you to have a different experience, as you mentioned. They can teach you something. I was talking to people in New Sound during the breakout rooms, and I learned so much from them, like experience that they had, family experience, professional experience, and things like that. That I felt so blessed that I was able to talk to those people, and they are happy to talk to me, but they don't know that I was so happy to talk to them too, because I was learning all the time, and not about English, but knowing experience that I can use in my English. So people forget about this, and I think this is it's an important point. You need to every experience is a good experience to improve, because you are practicing, you are doing something. You are not in a passive way, just listen. You are using the language. So this is one of the most important things. And my friend, the last question, and I want to know from you, if you could give just one piece of advice to an English student that are stuck right now, what you would say.
Yeah. So I would definitely say, so first off, don't give up, because plateaus are just a natural thing when it comes to English learning. And it doesn't mean that you are not learning. There is always something which is happening subconsciously in your mind, and your brain just needs to process something for a little bit. And after a time of plateau, there's definitely going to be a breakthrough. But another thing that I would advise to them to think about is think about what you've been doing for a long time and what you can change in your practice, because probably you feel that you're stuck just because you've been doing the same things for a long time and they've been working for you to a certain point. But right now you are so comfortable with them that maybe they're working, but it's so slow right now. So you need to think what else you can do in order to push yourself forward. And for this purpose, I would love you to think what you are scared of. So you need to think, oh, what kind of challenge I can take right now? What is the thing that I'm afraid of? And you just have to do that thing. It shouldn't be something, big. If you are afraid of taking like big challenges, it could be something small. So it could be maybe just recording a video. So maybe you've never recorded any video. So just record a video and or post this video on a Facebook page or on Instagram. Maybe you can think about opening your podcast. Maybe you can think about opening your YouTube channel. Maybe you can think about giving a speech. So just think about one thing that you're afraid of and consider taking this challenge, because this is the thing that you need right now to push yourself forward and to get yourself out of this comfort zone, get yourself unstuck, and finally feel that you're actually improving. Yeah, so that would be my advice.
Amazing advice. Thank you so much. Guys, just think, how can I challenge myself today and do something different? And I guarantee, and I think Katya guarantees also, that you will improve your English for sure. Katya, thank you so much for accept my invitation. It was an amazing conversation. I love what you share with us. I think people will be inspired and they will learn so much more because of your tips. So thank you so much for being so generous and for help us to deliver this message. So I hope you like this episode too. And please, if you want to say something, you are free to do it.
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you so much, Fred, for inviting me, because I feel honored and privileged. And I really like the mission that you are doing with your channel, because you are showing other people your example, how to expose yourself and how not to be afraid and how to take challenges. And and you don't need to be perfect to show up on YouTube. So, because nobody is perfect, even native speakers, they're not perfect. And thank you so much for inviting amazing teachers and amazing English learners to your channel, because they are also sharing so valuable tips and tricks with us learners that are so helpful on our English journey. So I wish you luck with your channel, and thank you so much for inspiring so many English learners in the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words. And guys, thank you so much for being with us until the end. So God bless all of you. And if you didn't hit the like button yet, click below and hit the like button. Share this episode with more people, that you care about. So see you in the next episode. Bye bye.